Few technical hitches there, but yes, it's another Tuesday and it's time for Tuesdays at 2, my weekly broadcast talking about a different topic to do with executive career management each week. This is episode number 104. My name is Martin Buckland and I call myself an executive career management practitioner. So I manage and I advance the careers of senior executives across the world. I've got clients in many different countries as we speak. Today's topic is I feel I am being discriminated due to my culture. Now, laws of employment change according to, even here in Canada, change according to the state, the province, and the country. But let me get right to the point. It is illegal, totally illegal to discriminate against people for their culture and for various other things. So employers need to be aware that there could be other ramifications coming if that is initiated by you, the employee, concerning your being discriminated because of your culture, because of the color of your hair, because of your age, because of this, because of that. There's many different genres there. So you need to think about it is illegal, but that is a last resort. Taking the legal route is a last resort, but it is illegal. So I'm going to get right to the point straight away. Anybody got any comments to do with executive career management, managing your career, job search, resume CVs, cover letters, personal branding, executive recruiters? Please put them in the comments and I will answer them as I go through this. So, but sadly, discrimination is quite rife in corporate world today and the other NGOs and not-for-profits and whatever. It is sadly so rife, and it shouldn't be, but it is. So here's some actions that you perhaps need to take if you feel that you are being discriminated against. So the benefit today, right as we speak, is there is a global talent shortage, a huge global talent shortage. So they cannot find talent either to replace you or they find it a lot more difficult. But the advantage for an employee is that you could go on a job search, not that you might not want to leave your employer, but if pull comes to shove, then you can go on a job search. And it's not going to be easy, but it's going to be a lot easier than it has done ever before to find a new appointment. So there are many jobs available, all functions, all levels, professions, and all countries, all geographies. So that's the advantage that you, the employee, have. Now there are many choices galore, but do you really want to go on a job search? Maybe not. Perhaps you want to tackle this discrimination because it's very close to your heart and you want to resolve it. And you want to also think of other people who could be in the same boat coming after you, who could experience the same sort of problems, the difficulties of discrimination and all the ramifications that that brings. But also, here's a question for you. Do you really want to work for an employer that discriminates against you? Really? Think about it. Is that a good employer? Does that fit your culture? Does that, or your personal culture, your personal brand? Is it ethical? Does it make you feel upset or unhappy? If it does, then perhaps you do need to execute a job search. But you can also tackle it internally. So you need to be very proactive. You need to be bold. You need to open up constructive dialogue, conversation with people who can maybe help you untangle that discrimination problem. And there are people who are probably willing to listen to you. Maybe not your boss, because you may be discriminated by your boss or peers on your management team or your team. but there may be other people within the organization, within the culture, within the company, the entity, who are willing to listen to you and willing to take on board your conversation, and they're willing to listen to you and maybe help you unravel these problems. So be productive, be bold. HR are there for a purpose. They are there to nurture, coach, and excite and engage their and have a very happy workforce. Their employees. Doesn't matter what function, what level you're in. HR play a huge role in your career management while you're in while you're in a either an executive position or a lower position in that organization. So I would start off by opening up some dialogue with HR, get some feelers, get some understanding of where they stand. Perhaps they might not be aware of what's happening, and there may have been other employees who've exited before you for the same reason, but those employees haven't been as loud and haven't opened up dialogue with HR. So then they might be stimulated to see if they can get involved in your overall career management. So please make any comments, any questions you've got regarding career management. Please come in the comments line, and I'm more than happy to ask them. I'll answer them. So be open with your boss. If it is your boss that's discriminating with you, tackle him or her right there and then. You cannot be fired for being discriminated against. It'd be the other way round. So you need to maybe be very proactive and be bold and bite your tongue and have a very good conversation. But do your research, do your homework, and practice what you're going to say before you enter or have a meeting with your boss, enter his or her office. But tackle it. They may cower and they may not like it, and they may have never been tackled before on the discrimination, and it might be an awareness to them. They might have to amend their practices, their conversation points. They may also decide, well, perhaps I need a coach. Perhaps I need to go and have some counseling. So there's a whole new ball game opens if you tackle your boss. But first of all, go to HR, get their perspective, involve them. They are the ones who can probably open up doors and give you a plan internally, because they know all the stakeholders within that company. So think about HR and then maybe go to your boss, or even higher, your boss or your boss's boss, or even higher than that. Ask probing questions. So make sure that you really do your homework before, because the more homework you do, the more confident you will be, and the more, hopefully, the easier it will be to resolve those issues as far as discrimination is concerned. So make sure you have, some references. Maybe some of your peers have actually seen you being discriminated against. Maybe they are willing to speak up on your behalf too. See if they are. Ask them. That's what the water cooler is all about. Having chats around the water cooler and maybe taking them out to a restaurant or a pub somewhere after work or during lunch hour, and discussing your problems, your issues, and why you need to air it. So ask probing questions. Subtly mention if you don't get anywhere in the conversations, dialogue, whether it be HR or whether it be your boss or your boss's boss. Subtly mention the legal ramifications. There are legal ramifications. They don't want to go to court. Nobody wants to go to court. They rather settle it internally and have it done amicably. So think about, maybe don't mention, oh, I'm going to take you to court, just like that. That's too overt. You need to be very subtle. And it's not acceptable. Tell them It's not acceptable to, well, it never has been, but tell them it's more not acceptable, particularly today when the law generally is in favor of the employee. So it's not acceptable morally anyway. So make them aware, make them think about, yeah, perhaps we are on the wrong tack here. And then at the end, if it doesn't go anywhere and you still want to work for that employer, or you want to get an exit plan, contact a labor lawyer, an employment lawyer, and they may refer you to somebody else. But a labor and employment lawyer would be the first one you hop on board with, and have a conversation with them. They may say, this is totally not acceptable, and they may be able to write a letter and to the company, and then maybe help you get an exit because of these problems and get a severance. So hopefully this has brought some information to you I've shared today. Anybody got any comments, any questions, anything to do with career management? Doesn't have to be regarding discrimination and today's topic. So I come on once a week, Tuesdays at 2, and I also have my twice a week career tips for a crazy world, and that's a 1 minute career tip, 9 a.m. Monday morning Eastern Standard Time and 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on a Friday afternoon. If you want a topic for the Tuesdays at 2, please email me. My email, I'm going to put my email up, and you can send a topic for me. We can discuss it, and then I will put it on Tuesdays at 2, or the 1 minute career tips for a crazy world. As I wrap this up, I'm more than happy to offer you a free, no obligation, no sales pitch resume CV critique. I will give you 30 minutes of my time, and I will go through that document from top to bottom. No sales pitch, but I will tell you as it is, because if it's not a 2022 ATS resume, you are probably not getting the optimum traction that you deserve to get your next position. And lastly, as I wrap this up, I also have an extensive YouTube channel. So go to my YouTube channel, Martin Buckland, and have a look at many YouTubes that are there. It's a wealth of information for you. So we got somebody asking a question here. So let me bring that on line here. Just bear with me 1 second. Well, we got several here. Well, this is good. Okay. So LinkedIn user, there is a fine line between workplace bullying and discrimination, and raising the issue of both bullying and discrimination can make you a pariah. 2, raising the issue and standing up often results in you being put on the next pink slip list, where the reason is ostensibly for a neutral reason. Yeah, that's very good comments. But if you are far more proactive and you take it to a lawyer there before you even get the pink slip, you are in the driver's seat. So yeah, there's many ramifications. It's like a jigsaw. There's many little pieces that go into the jigsaw here. But yeah, I understand. But who manages your career? You manage your career, not your employer. So maybe think about, you are number one. I can remember when I first came out of police training school in the Metropolitan Police as a London bobby many years ago. My sergeant said to me, the first words out of his mouth were, Buckland, look after number one. Buckland, look after number one. You are in charge of your career. You are in charge of your life. So make sure you protect it. So always be on a job search and always manage your career. But yes, have the backup is a lawyer. If you bring them in early before that pink slip arrives, they may be able to negotiate something before. And even if after the pink slip arrives, if you've been bullied or whatever, discriminated against, there are legal ramifications. There's no doubt about it. I'm not a legal beagle, but I know that. And then the next one is, let me bring the next one up. Martin, if the problem is with one individual, e.g. your boss, is it worth to take a step within the company? If, however, the problem is due to toxic company culture, it is better to seek another employment. That's a loaded question. Thanks, Bart, for that question. So, Martin, if the problem is with one individual, e.g., your boss, is it worth to take a step within the company? I would tackle it there and then, because it's worth you tackling it now, because it could come back and it could fester for other people behind you. So, if you've got a lot of being bold, as I said earlier, you can maybe help yourself, but you can also help people behind you. So I would tackle it there and then. But if it's a toxic culture across the company, and sadly, I know, because I'm very well networked, I know of a couple here of Canadian companies, excuse me, that are really toxic, very, very toxic. And employees have mentioned it to me, that particular word, not just one, but maybe 10, 12. Then perhaps you need to execute a job search plan, because you and I have had a conversation, Bart, over this. There are, and I mentioned it earlier on in my Tuesdays at 2, there are plenty of jobs out there for you. You don't need to be unhappy. You spend so many hours of your life in your career, and you take that career home, and it's noticed by your family unit and those other people around you. So don't be unhappy. There's no need to be unhappy today. You need to manage your career, take the bull by the horns, and get out. So hopefully that's helped you, Bart, with maybe just a question. Anybody got any other questions? 2 really good questions there. So thank you very much for those 2 questions. Anybody got any other questions? If not, I'll wrap it up, and I will see you next Tuesday at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And also join me Friday, 2 p.m. for my career tips for a crazy world. Haven't decided what I'm going to talk about, but it's a 1-minute quick tip, and career tips for a crazy world, 9 a.m. next Tuesday. Have a great week. I am here to help you manage your career. Have a wonderful week.